Hey everybody, movie reviewer next door here, and I'm back with another review. And this time, I am reviewing Fatman. This is a 2020 action comedy Christmas film, uh, directed by Esham and Ian Nelms, and it stars Mel Gibson, Walton Goggins, Marion Jean Baptiste, and Chance Hurstfield. In this film, a rowdy, unorthodox Santa Claus is fighting to save his declining business. Meanwhile, Billy, a neglected and precocious 12-year-old, hires a hitman to kill Santa after receiving a lump of coal in his stocking. So, what did I think of Fat Man? Well, I wasn't expecting to like this more than Violent Night, even though in Violent Night I was like, oh, they could have replaced Santa's actor with somebody other than David Harbour. But I fucking loved this. This beats Violent Night out of the water for me any day. Even if Violent Night was a fun action movie, it kind of was lacking in the soul that this film has, and this really comes off to me like a passion project. This feels that this is the type of originality we need in Hollywood, and the fact that this is some little low budget, possibly independent project, it really shows that we don't need the big companies. I mean, we've seen multiple times indie films that show that we don't need the big companies, but this really stresses it. But let me get to the cast. Mel Gibson plays Kris Kringle in this interpretation of Santa. He is fantastic in this. I don't know if this is one of his best performances, but in the context of this movie, he is fantastic. He perfectly resembles what I would expect a kind of more gruff, kind of more rough around the edges, struggling Santa Claus to look like. And I mean that in the best way. Mel Gibson gets across the emotions well. He's a badass when he needs to be, and it doesn't come off like a hollow character. It doesn't come off like a character that's like, oh, Mel Gibson's here, so you gotta like this character. The writers went to the extra mile to make Kris Kringle or Santa human, basically. Like, he still has magic and everything, but he has human emotions, he makes human mistakes, and I love that. Excuse me. Walton Goggins plays Skinny Man, a hitman sent after Kris Kringle by this kid to kill him. Walton Goggins is an actor that, yes, he gets typecast as villains. I understand. He gets typecast as the creepy guy or villains. He almost never gets to play good guys. But here, I really don't mind it. I never mind him in any movie. He's always there to. He seems like a worker. He's in movies to work and he does his job. Even if it may not be a passion project, he does his job because he understands what acting is. It's a job. And he's really good in this film. And he doesn't play the character as like, oh, just one note hitman, like evil hitman. He has a bit more of a soul to him, and I like that. Marianne Jean Baptiste plays Ruth, who is Mrs. Claus. Um, at first glance, you think, oh, wait, are they throwing in fake representation? No, because Marianne Jean Baptiste is a great actress. She is in so much British stuff. The last movie I saw her in was Violet and Daisy, which that's another underrated film I hope more people will see. Um, Directed by Jeffrey Fletcher, the writer of Precious. Um, that's a awesome movie. Really heartbreaking. Um, but yeah. Um, Marion Jean Baptiste is really, really good in this as well. Um, you've got a trio of very likable and well done performances in the leads, and her and Mel really work as this couple. And I always love an older romance, even though it's not a romance movie, but they're nice little lovey-dovey scenes together, and their little back and forth that they have feels very natural, and it's a lot of fun to watch. Chance Hurstfield as Billy Weenan. He's the kid, the evil kid that wants to get he wants Santa dead. He is good, actually. He is played a little over the top, but I think that's meant for comedic purposes, and it did work a lot of the time. He is comedically evil, and it's fun to watch. Um, I wonder what it'll be in the future. But let me start off by saying the fact that top three actors aren't just putting in a paycheck really shows here. It feels like Mel, Walton, and Marianne all believe very heavily in the story, and they really want to get it out there in the best way that they possibly can. And again, Mel Gibson is an actor that gets a lot of shit, mostly for comments that I hate to have to bring this up again. Comments that he didn't say out in public. He said them in the privacy of his own home, or on the phone to somebody, or while he was drunk. And I dare anybody in my audience that does drink to not do something stupid while you're drunk, because most people that are out, yes, he shouldn't have been driving drunk. Yeah, I've said that all the time. He shouldn't have been driving drunk. Shouldn't have said the things he did about Jewish people or black people. Yes, he's apologized for those things. He has, these things happened literally decades ago. People can change. With that said, I dare anybody out there that goes out drinking to not do something stupid when you're drunk. I'm waiting. But then again, Mel Gibson is a fantastic actor. He is. And it sucks that a lot of people will shit on him when it's like there's many people in Hollywood that you could shit on that have done way worse things. You know, hurt children, all this stuff. And yeah, I loved the experience of watching this. For the first like 30-ish minutes, I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll like this. It's got kind of a build to it. It's not slow paced. I don't think it's a slow paced movie. It's very well paced. It's better paced than Violent Night. Now, why I keep bringing up Violent Night is because this is listed as an action comedy. I don't think that's 100% a great thing to list it as because there's only really action at the end. It's mostly a dark comedy up until the end. Violent Night was 2 hours long. I think it was over 2 hours long. No, it was almost 2 hours long. This is 96 minutes without the credits, and I think that's the perfect length for this. For most movies, 90 minutes is the perfect length, but nothing felt extraneous here. There were bits of Violent Night that felt kind of dragged out, like they shouldn't have taken as long as they did. And I think that movie could be cut down into a very lean, lot of fun action movie. But yeah, this film it's hard to talk about because I really want people to find out things on their own. I'm not going to give spoilers for sure, like most of my videos, but I do think that the casting here for pretty much everybody was perfect, perfectly spot on. And if they did do a sequel to this was 2020, so they could still do a sequel to this. I would not mind because I loved the world this set up. I loved the different take on Santa, how he's running out of money. He's not going to be able to afford everything next year, and he's being forced to basically work for the military for a few months in order to pay the bills. And if you think about it in that way, you can kind of see it as kind of a bit of a commentary on commercialism and how, well, every year we keep getting more and more snowflakey people. You get more and more shitty kids who aren't being parented right. And slowly, like, prices of everything are going up. You could see it as a commentary on that. You could, or inflation, or just in general, things getting worse as time goes on. This film acknowledges the time it came out, and I think that really works for it. Um it's not a lecture piece. It's not here to just be like, oh, this is how you should feel. This is how you should um be doing everything in your day to day life. It's not there to do that, and I'm glad that it doesn't do that. It's just a very fun, very entertaining, nice and bloody at times. Again, this is not an action packed film. The ending action is very well done, though. It is, for the most part, practical. I notice, because I have an eye for these things, there's a shootout between Kris Kringle, or Santa, I'm just going to call him Santa, Santa and Skinny Man, or Fat Man and Skinny Man, I guess that's what you could call it. And I can tell it's practical and it's all happening in the snow, which is something I love. I love seeing like sword fights or gun fights or action scenes just in the snow or in the rain. I love that. I think it brings a nice visual flair to the things going on, which is why that stupid fucking Jean Reno movie, Cold Blood or Cold Blood Legacy, with him and Sarah Lind, who can't act her way out of a fucking paper bag. I'll have to watch it again. I gave it a 1 when I first saw it. But a movie like that wastes the environment it's in, where you could have had, oh, this character proving that he's a badass hitman, like in the beginning part. But instead, most of the movie is just him lazing about and a real misuse of Jean Reno. And in this film, they use the environment to their advantage. And even some of the sets, because this movie wasn't made for a lot of money. It was made for 20 million. In movie terms, that's not much. And there's this like big elf factory that's like an old Hershey's factory, which is cool. Um, and you get a shootout in that. You get a shootout in the snow between, again, Fat Man and Skinny Man. And it's a lot of fun. It's nice and bloody, brutal. It feels visceral, which is something you don't get in a ton of movies nowadays, especially movies centered around Christmas. And if you want to make the thing about this being a Christmas movie, yes, it is a Christmas movie. What I consider to be a Christmas movie is a movie that takes place at Christmas and weaves Christmas into the plot in any way, shape, or form. So, yes, Die Hard counts. Yes, Lethal Weapon counts. Die Hard 1 through 3, if you count the third movie's alternate ending, which personally I like the alternate ending better. And yeah, they're reindeer games. I'd say that counts as a Christmas action movie. And yeah, I I really enjoyed this film. I loved it. I'll definitely watch it again for sure. It's Again, it's got everything you would need in a like dark comedy, action, comedy, thriller, whatever you want to call it. You got Mel Gibson having a lot of fun on screen, and you can tell. You've got him and Marianne Jean-Baptiste as a very believable couple. You have Walton Goggins acting his ass off as usual as the villain. You have a little shit kid who's really good at acting like a little shit. Hope to see him in more things. Violent, nice and violent. Very. This movie had some surprises with how far it went with certain things, and it never went so far that it felt ridiculous. It felt the right amount ridiculous. It didn't feel like they were jumping the shark or anything. And I can really respect that. I will definitely be taking a look at this director's other movie, Small Town Crime, at some point, because I've been curious about that one. I've had it on my watch list for a bit. But yeah, Not much more I can really say about this. I don't really want to give much away. Just if you see it online, it is currently apparently you can rent it on Amazon, but if you see this Blu-ray on Blu-ray or DVD, definitely pick it up. Hell of a lot of fun. Um, really badass Mel Gibson role, or later Mel Gibson role even. And yeah, definitely pick it up. And that was my review of Fatman. If you've seen the film, let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any recommendations, put those in the comments as well. And movie reviewer next door.